Guys, see my screen here where it says master the basics of virtual selling. And you know, let's just take a little walk through like memory lane. All right, because last year was a big year, right? I mean, March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization declares a global pandemic, right? Shortly thereafter, like schools shut down, businesses shut down, the entire economy was on lockdown for a while. I don't know about you, but like I can still very distinctly remember the amount of fear and uncertainty that we were going through at the time. Everybody in the nation, like all collectively, like not knowing how long is this going to last? What does this mean? You know, what is this going to look like for the economy, for our businesses? And, you know, a lot of people at Symmetry, you know, I heard people saying, well, let's wait till the lockdown ends and let's see what happens. And I just knew, guys, that was not going to be the case. I happened to be actually in the field at the time when this happened last year. Reason is we had just purchased some office space or leased some office space. And it was really important to me to pay for my office, to pay for my business expenses on my own pen. You know, I wanted to get some furniture in my office, that kind of stuff. So I had a GMR actually last year. At the time, it was 3 hours from where I live. I was driving from Nashville, Tennessee to Louisville, Kentucky. I drive up Monday morning, come home Tuesday night, get all my business done in 2 days. And that's what I was doing every week. Now, when the pandemic hit, you know, a lot of uncertainty, but thankfully our carriers, okay, our awesome carrier partners that we work with, they made the big pivot. Let's see if I can get my slide to move. They made the big pivot first, okay? Last year, our carriers, so grateful to them, came out and said, hey, you guys can do everything virtually now. Telephone sales, video sales, e-applications. You can use DocuSign. You can do it all virtually, all right? Because let's face it, like our need for our products has never been greater. Okay, so when our carrier partners said, hey, you can do all this virtually, guess who was really excited? Guess who didn't have to drive 3 hours one way just to get to an appointment anymore? I started thinking about all the money that I was going to save, not putting all that money into my gas tank and all the time and energy. And let's face it, all that time I spent in the car, I was getting like a bad back. I was having to go to the chiropractor. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I mean, I don't have to spend all my day like locked up in my car, driving from house to house. I'm in, guys. I made the choice immediately. This is what we're doing. This is the big pivot. This is what we have been waiting for, an opportunity to do business 100% completely virtual. Now, at the time, you know, we didn't have any idea how long this would last. Okay. We had to take the evolve or die approach. We had to, you know, when you are in a situation where you cannot go into people's homes, either you're going to adopt some virtual sales into your repertoire, or you will face the risk of eventual extinction. Okay. And so the problem is that old habits die hard. And that's why we're doing this. Something new makes most people feel, let's face it, really uncomfortable, very vulnerable. It did for me. So I don't know if you can relate to that. You know, using technology, using a new platform, learning something new is never fun. Okay. It's easy to focus on what could go wrong. It's easy to make a mountain out of a molehill. You know, and we get flustered. You know, technology has a way of like triggering us, and then we beat ourselves up over what we did wrong. But a lot of times nobody even notices. And really, when it comes to technology, we're all kind of in the same boat. A lot of grace, you know, a lot of patience is out there. But so the truth of the matter is, if I can teach my 92-year-old grandmother how to Zoom, guys, anybody can do it. Oh, I didn't want to leave her face. She's so cute. Look at her. All right. look at her. She's just realized like a whole new world has opened up to me, man. I think that Zoom alone could keep my grandmother alive another like 10 years, right? Because now she gets to like see us and interact with us in a whole new way. Video sales is cost and time effective. All right, guys, no more putting money into your gas tank. No more running around town knocking on doors. Hey, let's face it, no more pants. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding on that one. We'll get back to that one later. But I'm going to take the next few minutes and we're going to talk about how to conduct a highly effective virtual sales call. But first, I want to kind of go through some of the foundations. All right, let's get a foundational baseline here. When it comes to intelligence, there's 4 different types. There's IQ, AQ, EQ, TQ. What do all this mean? Okay, IQ, of course, we hear that. That's like the general intelligence that you're born with. AQ is your acquired knowledge. That's like when you go to school, when you read a book, go to college, you acquire knowledge. EQ is your emotional intelligence. That's your acuity in dealing with emotions. And TQ is something new. It's technology. It's your technology knowledge. It's how fast you can assimilate technology into your life, right? So I know for me, it requires a lot of AQ to do TQ. All right, let's face it. I'm not a millennial. Most babies nowadays are born with a phone in their hand. All right, they can figure out how to maneuver an iPad, whereas I was 36 years old before I even got a smartphone. Okay, so technology knowledge, TQ, requires a lot of AQ for me to do. And thankfully, there's Google, there's YouTube, you can literally go to YouTube and type in how to do anything, and there will be a video for you how to do it. So the other thing with TQ is not only does it require some AQ, but TQ also requires extra EQ, okay? Using and incorporating technology into your sales system will require extra patience. It will require extra emotional intuition, dealing with a client now over a video conference instead of face-to-face. So it pays you to work on your EQ just as much as it does your TQ. All right, what are we looking at here? We are looking at our sales system. This is the real system, okay? And it really works. Real, what does it stand for? Rapport, emotion, assumption, lock it down. And there are steps on how to go through this. You set the stage, you direct your client to the kitchen table or the equivalent virtual. You know, you get your small talk, you do your rapport, you find the why. You know, you assume the sale and you lock it down. The world last year may have gone upside down, but let me tell you this, the Symmetry sales system has not changed a bit, okay? There's nothing that's changed about the Symmetry sales system. We have to go through all of the steps, all right? Now, here is a common pitfall. Common pitfall is that when we're video chatting, and now I'm using maybe a PowerPoint presentation, or I'm using technology to speak with you, the speed of technology might fool my brain into thinking that I can speed through the sales system. But I'm here to tell you, you cannot skip a single step, all right? So just because we're using something that didn't require me to drive 3 hours to get to your house, I am going to take just as much time on developing the rapport and finding the emotion and the assumption and locking it down and taking the e-application. So my appointments are still going to be about an hour, you know, when we're taking an application. So do not skip a step. All right, let's talk about this here. If we're going to use technology and video conferencing as our platform, I like to just get a brief understanding and a foundation of the power of each type of communication medium. It's like pointless to like say like we all know that the best communication comes and happens face to face. okay? Kneecap to kneecap. There's that, not only is there the body language and all of that, but there's a transfer of energy that's like a little bit more tangible when you're face to face. Nobody's going to deny that face to face is not the best way to communicate. In fact, if you look here, 95% accuracy in communication face to face. All right. The thing is, most of us in today's day and age, we spend a lot of time on the bottom end of this. Okay. Social media, let's face it, guys, when you post something on social media or post on somebody else's post, you have a 95% chance of being misunderstood. 95% chance. That's a huge deal. Texting is not much better. That's why I always say you never want to have any sort of meaningful conversation over text message. Okay. We use text messages in our phone system, and for tying it down and for being professional to say, here's when your appointment is, but we do not engage with our clients over text message. Same with email. If anyone says, oh, send me a quote or what, no, we're not going emailing back and forth with our clients. All right, 85% chance of being misunderstood over email. If you have something meaningful that you want to say, or you need to communicate something succinctly with some clarity and some brevity, pick up the phone. Right? Nowadays now most people don't even want to pick up the phone. But at least with the phone call, you're 35% chance of communicating effectively. But look what happens when you jump to video chat. When you jump to video chat, all of a sudden, your chances of being understood versus the telephone actually double. We're talking 100% increase in understanding and in meaningful communication happens over a video chat. Okay. So why do you think that is? Well, I think part of the reason is that most of our brain capacity, actually over half of our brain capacity, is dedicated to our eyes. All right. There's something happens when we can see you, when you can see your client, or better yet, even if you can't see your client, if your client can see you, that opens the door to deeper relationships, to connection, to ultimately building trust. Okay. So with so many different ways to video chat, we've got Facebook, Messenger, we have FaceTime, we have WhatsApp, we have Google Duo, we have Whereby. There's no lack of that. Why is Zoom the industry preferred choice? Okay, why is it important to learn and get good at using Zoom? I'll tell you, there's 3 reasons. Number 1, last year when the school systems adopted Zoom for school, when most companies adopted a stay and work from home platform, they also adopted Zoom. Almost overnight, Zoom became a household name. Household name, guys. It's like a verb. Okay. Yeah. Let's Zoom next week. Or yeah, I'm Zooming with my clients, later at 4 o'clock, or, it's a verb. Okay. It became not only a household name, but it's also a verb. Zoom allows you to appear professional. Okay. If I'm going to call my mom, I'm probably going to use FaceTime. If I'm going to call my sister who lives in Africa, I'm going to use WhatsApp. But if I'm going to call a client, I am going to use Zoom, because Zoom allows me to appear professional, because it is the industry standard when it comes to business. Okay. The third reason that I'm going to use Zoom is because it has these awesome, useful features. I mean, I get to use a PowerPoint. I get to, share my screen. I can use the record feature. And let me tell you this, the record feature is huge. Not only can you record so that you've got, for legal purposes with your clients and what you're talking about, you can also send that recording to your mentor, or even what I like to do is a virtual ride along. Back in the day, we used to throw new agents in the car with us and run a couple appointments together. We can do that now, even if, our agent or your mentor is several states away. You can do a virtual ride along with Zoom. So when the sales system tells you to direct your client to the kitchen table or a virtual equivalent, guys, let me tell you, Zoom is the new kitchen table. All right, Zoom is the new kitchen table. So what I want to do is talk next about the 4 technical elements and the 3 human elements. All right, I'm going to get a little tactical here. Sometimes you're going to have a situation where the client can see you, but you can't see the client. That's okay. It's more important that they see you. All right. When your client sees that you're a real person, they can see your face, they can see your body language. It really helps them overcome their fears about doing business with you. They're wondering, can I trust this person? Okay. So remember, you're always on stage. Your primary goal here is to create a video sales call experience that makes you look natural on camera and is close to how you might look in real person. Okay, so we're going to go through the 4 technical elements, which actually are audio, lighting, framing, and background. Okay, when you actually appear professional, when you take some time to be intentional about these 4 elements, you will instantly separate yourself from 90% of the competition. Okay, I'm going to say that again. When you take the time to master the 4 technical elements, just the technical elements of being in front of your camera on Zoom, you will have separated yourself from 90% of your competition. Okay, so let's talk about audio. Test out your computer microphone in advance. Do some sample Zoom troubleshooting with a family member. You know, better yet, use a professional microphone. When it comes to lighting, here's how you don't want to look, okay? Do you think your client is going to trust you if you look like a shadow monster? No, right? You want to have that natural light in front of you, not behind you. In fact, you could I invested $20 into a little this is like a LED video light. It's what I'm using right now. Okay, it's just this little thing. It hooks onto my computer, and it just allows it so that you can see my face. You can see my facial expressions. It's so important that your clients get to see you and your facial expressions. They get to see how much you care about them when you take a little time to make the lighting right. Okay, and again, now she's got a source of light in front of her face, and you can see her very clearly. Let's talk about framing. This is my buddy, Jeb Blount. He's my buddy. He wrote the book, the Bible on virtual selling. Okay, awesome book. But I love Jeb's examples here of where to kind of place the camera. You know, skydivers, when you're like looking down at the camera, a bobblehead, you're like too close. Stargazer, you know, as you're looking up at the camera. I don't care if it's supposed to like take 10 pounds off your face. You just don't want to do it. Witness protection, when you're just the shadow monster. Max headroom, when you're like super far away. And then the grim reacher is like when they can see your hands, like, you know, now mind you do want your clients to see your hands. So you could do like I'm doing and stand up or get a little further away from the camera. So at least you can use some, you want your clients to see your hands at least a few times during your presentation. Why? Because from a psychological standpoint, if you can't see someone else's hands, it's not a conscious thing. It's a subconscious thing. You're always going to be wondering if you can trust them. You're going to be wondering, what are they doing with their hands? Can you trust this person? So you always want to at least have an opportunity to show your hands or use a little bit of hand language when you're talking to your clients. What about your background? Okay. My background, you know, have nice color on the wall, some paintings in the background, have a little bookshelf over here. You want to keep it clean, professional, positive. You can use a virtual background. It'll pay you to take 90 seconds to watch a little video on how to do that. You can use a virtual background, but what you don't want to have is a lot of clutter. And I want to just take a quick second here and for some comic relief and see if y'all remember this from last year.
Scandals happen all the time. The question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals?
And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting shifting sands in the region? Do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me.
That's right,
Pardon
carry
me.
on.
My apologies.
What's this going to mean for the region?
My apologies. South Korea's policy choices on North Korea have been severely limited in the last 6 months.
Okay, was that not one of the best videos of 2020, you guys? I love that, to watch that video every time. I love how she's like flying into that room, you know, but again, my point is keep your door locked, you know, keep the background noise to a minimum, like be present, be professional. This poor guy, of course, he tried so hard to be so professional, and his precious little children. So anyways, it just only made him more endearing to us all. My point is, you know, keep your background uncluttered and no distractions. All right, let's talk about the 3 human elements. All right, the 3 human elements would be appearance, body language, and posture, and rapport. Need I say more? All right, guys, let's look like the little dog on the right. All right, brush your hair, brush your teeth, you know, be like how you would if you were meeting somebody in person. You know, wear either like solid colors, don't wear like loud patterns. Of course, my favorite, I've taught on this before, but my favorite color to wear is the color of trust. Does anyone know what the color of trust is? The color of trust is blue. All right. So, so yeah, there you have it. Look good, smell good. And of course, the age-old question, do you wear pants? I don't know. I don't know. Do you wear pants? That's a good question. Remember, point is, when you dress your best, you feel your best. All right. Let's talk about body language. We all know that over 70% of communication is nonverbal. All right. So let me talk about this concept here, decoding versus encoding. All right. Decoding means when we're looking at somebody and we're trying to like decode what they're saying, we're reading their body language. That's what decoding means. I'm reading their body language. I'm looking for their micro expressions. Okay. Google that if you're not familiar with micro expressions. One of my favorite topics is basically capturing these tiny micro expressions of emotion that usually are very fleeting, but it will give you a very deep and quick insight into what somebody's thinking or feeling. All right. Remember I said virtual sales requires extra emotional intelligence. Okay. So that's when it comes to decoding. Now, how about encoding? When it comes to encoding, you're sending cues to people. You know, you're actually communicating to them in an intentional, nonverbal way. Okay, so let's talk about encoding. The shortest distance between 2 people is a smile. Smiling is encoding at the very highest level. So if you're starting off your Zoom appointment with somebody and you're stressed out and is this working? And no, guys, get that big smile on your face. You are now making a connection with your client, and you cannot put a price tag on that. All right. So smiling is encoding at the highest level. Here's the new handshake. We used to go in people's homes, give a nice firm handshake, look them into the eye. But guess what's the new handshake? Smile and wave. Smile and wave is the new handshake. Always start your appointments with a smile and a wave, and always end your appointments with a smile and a wave. All right. It's so easy. I like to take it a step further. If I can get my client to actually show up on their video, I'm going to make them feel really good about themselves. I'm going to be like, hey, beautiful people. It's so good to see your faces. You are so beautiful, you know, and just make them feel really good about themselves. Here's something that requires a little bit of practice. It's what I'm trying to do as much as possible right now is using eye contact. Eye contact means I'm looking into the camera. I'm not looking at my screen. I'm not looking at myself talking. I'm not looking at my client talking. I'm using eye contact. But using eye contact over video it will pay you to get into the habit of doing that when you're speaking, okay? And of course, when you're listening. Now you want to look at your client so you can pick up on the micro expressions, but you want to active listen by nodding your head, okay? And asking for clarification. And again, show your hands. Be in a spot where you are bringing some energy to the table, okay? All right, and then rapport. You know, I just want to mention that rapport is so important because people buy you. They buy you. So make sure that I think the majority of the rapport that I develop with people is through asking open-ended questions and listening. Just truly being in the present moment and listening to my clients. What you're going for here is you're going for a relaxed, assertive confidence. Okay, regardless of what happens. If there's any technical issues, you want to be relaxed. All right, take a deep breath and just remind yourself everything is going to be okay. All right, so I want to include some tips. All right, here are some tips to incorporate into every virtual sale. Number one, start on the phone. Okay, don't be that person that sends off a Zoom link and then shows up at the time and just waits there for your client to show up on the Zoom. No, you want to ensure that you're taking lead. You know, every client wants to know, can I follow this person? Not only can I trust this person, but are they going to lead me down a path that I want to go in? Can I follow this person? And guys, I promise you, if you can get your client to start on the phone and end up on a Zoom with you, your client knows that they can follow you. Okay, I like to start on the phone because that's how I made my initial connection with them. Okay, if I made my initial connection with them, at the very least, if all technology fails, I know I've still got them on the telephone with me. We can end up with a telesale. We can end up with a telephone appointment. But I actually like to backdoor my client into the Zoom room. Okay, I do this by having them start on the phone and be in front of the computer. So every time I set an appointment, I always say, hey, I'm going to call you at 5 o'clock on Monday. I need you to be in front of your computer. Can you be in front of your computer? Can you and your wife both be in front of the computer when I call? Yes? Okay, great. So when I call them, hey guys, you ready? We're going to take a few minutes and see if we've got something that will help you. Are you in front of your computer? No? Oh, okay. You go ahead and get in front of your computer because there's some things that I want to show you that's going to translate a lot better on the computer. Let me know when you've pulled up your email. Pull up your email because I just sent you a link. Okay? All right. Now, do you see the email from me? Great. Open it up. Do you see the link in there? Go ahead and click that link. Now, if they don't have Zoom downloaded, you can let them know, hey, it's just going to take a couple minutes. We're going to download Zoom onto your computer. You know, walk them through figuring out how to, hit run, hit open, hit finish. All right, now go back to the email and click the link again. You know, it will pay you. I remember last spring, I had two clients. It was a husband and a wife. They were in their late 70s. They had never used Zoom before, but of course they've heard of it because their grandkids use Zoom for school. And I said, hey, no problem. We're just going to take a few minutes and get the Zoom up and running for you guys. Well, it actually took like 30 minutes. All right. Took 30 minutes, a lot of patience, but I just knew that if I could get them to see me, all right. Mind you, this is like some people in their 70s. They're not just going to like trust some random person that calls them, right? I figured if I could get them to see me, then we're going to have a good productive discussion. Well, you know what? 30 minutes later, they could see me. I know I ended up getting 2 applications for about 4,000 in APV that I absolutely know they would not have given me so much of that business if it was just a telephone call. I might have gotten 1 app, maybe 1,500. You know what I mean? I might, but because I went the extra mile and showed them how to use Zoom, I backdoored them into their Zoom appointment. They were so thrilled that now they have this skill. They can Zoom with their grandkids. I mean, Hey, I tell myself, I changed their life. I changed their life by getting them on Zoom. So pat me on the back, and they're happy, and we had a really great virtual sale. You always want to have a backup plan, all right? Because technology can and will fail you, okay? Wi-Fi will go down, you know, something will happen, your computer will, you know, decide to run a random update at the worst time possible. So you always want to have a backup plan, all right? Now, and I said this before, worst case scenario, you've got them on the telephone, you could do a telephone sale. But best case scenario is to get them to see you. Get them on a FaceTime. Use Google Duo, Whereby, WhatsApp, Messenger. Get them to the point where they can at least see you. That's so important. All right. Set up a DocuSign account. This is huge. If you have not done that, you can get a free account. You can send up to 3 documents a month with a free account. If you want to send more documents, you pay a little bit per month, but DocuSign is so effective for getting wet signatures, for getting amendments signed, for changing a draft date, you know, getting your client to sign something, you know, that you need to get to the carrier, you need a wet signature for. Use DocuSign for that. It's a very professional way to collect the signatures that you need. And if you can't use an e-application, DocuSign is a great way to do a paper application as well if it's your very first application, okay? And again, start and finish each call with the smile and wave. But we're not done yet, because guess what? This is my favorite quote from my Wolf of Wall Street. 453 Zoom meeting minutes? You gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Guys, let's face it, it takes practice to get good at learning something new, to get good at virtual sales. It's not going to happen overnight. There's no magic fairy dust. There's no Jedi mind trick that's going to allow you to get there any faster. You've got to put in the time. You've got to put in the work. January is a fresh start, guys. We teach our team, if there's a learning curve for you to overcome, it's going to take you 30 sits. If you're a brand new agent, you know you're looking down the barrel of a learning curve. It's going to take you 30 sits to really get that total confidence in what you're doing. 30 sits before you get the underwriting and the questions and the in-home and the phones and the apps and the carries. It all comes together. It's the same with virtual sales. I want to encourage you, if you have not adopted virtual selling into your repertoire, make it your aim to do 30 sits, to sit with 30 families over the next 30 days virtually, to get through your learning curve. I promise you, after 30 sits of virtual sales, you are going to be an expert pro, all right? So take it like this, take this beginning of the year, take January, make that your aim, sit in front of 30 families. Guys, you can master the art of virtual selling. You can do it. I'm so happy that I got to spend this time with you today. Let me go ahead and unscreen share this. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of that, got a little laugh out of it. So signing off, have a great day. See you later.